Trey Sermon and Kenneth Mann are lost for the season, and we got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, we need to talk about season-ending lower leg injuries to Kenneth Mann and Trey Sermon, what that means for them, what that means for the University of Oklahoma's football team going forward. Before we get to that, I want to remind you, subscribe to my newsletter. There is a link in the description below, and if you do so between now and December 7th, you get an opportunity to win this bad boy here. And maybe you're an OU fan, maybe you're not, but I assume that you're an OU fan or very much interested in OU if you are watching this particular upload, because you want to know what we all know, which is Trey Sermon and Kenneth Mann. See where I'm going? Trey Sermon and Kenneth Mann have both suffered season-ending injuries. And frankly, it sucks. It sucks because, one, Kenneth Mann is a redshirt senior. So this is it for him. There is no medical redshirt. He's played enough already to... You got to play less than 30% of the season to qualify for a medical redshirt. And who's to say that you would even want to come back? But he might. I mean, it sucks. One, you lose a defensive end, and you lose depth on a defensive line that needs all the depth it can get at present, because they just frankly haven't been playing that well. So that's one with Kenneth Mann. You also lose a guy who is a capable leader and one of your best leaders. He was voted a captain on the 2018 team to the surprise of some. But if you just know from Kenneth Mann and you hear how the man carries himself and you hear how the kiddos look up to him, you come to understand what kind of a leader he is, and that's what you're going to miss on the field. I'm sure he'll build around the team and he'll be able to contribute in that way, especially for puppies like Ronnie Perkins, who is making the leap, or we expect to make the leap, as a sophomore and heading into his junior year. And on a line that hasn't produced more than one sack since getting 9 against Texas. That's really the production on the field that you were going to miss, because Neville Gallimore's just one dude. You needed Q Overton. You needed LaRon Stokes, Jalen Redmond. We keep going about Mann and Ronnie Perkins to figure it out and try to get some pressure on these quarterbacks in the backfield, especially against guys like Brock Purdy, who are holding the ball a lot longer than, say, the South Dakota quarterback, who was very much about getting the ball out quickly. And you'll face a couple of those sorts of schemes to respect this pass rush that you could get. But since the pass rush has not really been there against Skylar Thompson, against Brock Purdy, we're hoping that a young or older guy could figure it out to help the younger guys figure it out. And losing Kenneth Mann, it hurts. It hurts not just for him personally, it hurts for the team. And Lincoln Riley had said he was sick about it. As for Trey Sermon, man, has this season just not gone to plan for that dude? Finishes with 385 yards rushing, just 54 attempts. He had over 150 last year. I believe it's like 164, 167 in there, but he was a big part of the offense in 2018, and he burst out in 2017. The Preacher Man looked like he could be one of the better tailbacks to play at Oklahoma there for a bit. And you like the tandem of Kennedy Brooks and Trey Sermon to start this season. We thought they would get more run than they have. But between Sermon, Kennedy Brooks, and Ramondre Stevenson, you have 3 running backs that had over 300 yards rushing. But had they been handed the ball here? And it's actually interesting to think about it in terms of Sermon had only 54 rush attempts all season. Jalen Hurts has had 41 in the past 2 games. To tell you where the offense has gone when it comes to running the ball. And we would have loved to see Kennedy Brooks get more of those opportunities. And now he's probably going to by default, because there is no Trey Sermon to hand the ball to. The same thing with Ramondre Stevenson. You would expect him to get more opportunities to carry the rock. Probably see some more of TJ Pledger, and might even see some of Marcus Major. We'll see how this all plays out and what they think about their backs. But this was supposed to be and billed as the freshest group of backs in the country heading into Iowa State, and the freshest group of backs in the country didn't even get all that many carries, and the quarterback outrushed both of them. Now, if you have to run the running backs, you're one less, right? So now it just doesn't work. It doesn't work out in that, yeah, Jalen Hurts could keep running, but if something happens to Jalen Hurts, and then if you want to hand the ball off to the running backs, and you do decide to hand the ball to the running backs 40 times instead of just 15 to 18, that's one less guy that has fresh legs. So it's going to be interesting to see how Riley and Jay Boulware, running backs coach, figure this thing out. The rehab process for Trey Sermon, I'm sure, is going to start just as soon as he gets figured out. But Riley did not specify. He just said lower leg injuries. But the fact that Sermon couldn't put any weight on the knee after he had his 14-yard run tells you a lot about what was going on there. And it's just not, it ain't any fun. This has not been a fun 3 days for Oklahoma fans. First, you had the performance against Iowa State, to say nothing of the injuries that you sustained during the win against Iowa State, and you still can win a Big 12 championship. That's still very much there. You got to beat Baylor, TCU, and then Oklahoma State and win the title in the conference championship game. But is this team good enough to play in the college football playoff? Sure, it's good enough to play. It's good enough to get in. Is it good enough to win? It doesn't feel that way right now, man. Right now, no, because the teams that you would be playing, Clemson, Ohio State, and of course LSU, have managed to really catch up to Oklahoma offensively, and Oklahoma hasn't caught up to them defensively. And now losing some weapons on both sides of the ball, losing some capable guys and meaningful contributors in Kenneth Mann and Trey Sermon just goes back to what we've been talking about. Does John Michael Terry, the loss of him, really affect this defense? Well, yeah, it seems to, just as the loss of Kenneth Mann will really affect this defense, and the potent run game that is there, should Lincoln Riley decide to call more run plays for the running backs, was there. It's not as potent anymore because Trey Sermon was just that kind of elite back. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.